The games that will be played in Squid Game Season 4 are just so shocking, guys. You won't believe what it is. I made a video about this just a few days ago, but I decided that there might be other games involved, and that's what I'm about to talk in this video today. I know we can't wait for what Season 4 has to offer, but I really think the most interesting part will be the games that will be played. I've actually thought about this. There can be drama and emotions, but the games are the most important part of this series. But before we jump in, like and subscribe right now if you are excited for Squid Game USA, and for good luck. Now, let's get right into this crazy video. The questionable game that we will see for sure in Season 4 is Red Light Greenlight. It's the genesis of the games. I'd like to think Red Light Greenlight is like the official introduction to Squid Games, but I think the most interesting part of Red Light Greenlight in Season 4 USA will be the reaction of the players. Remember that we will be taking a look at a different society altogether. We've seen how players in Korea reacted to the games, but in Season 4, it will be played in America, and we know there is no way that two different countries will behave the same way. They all have different upbringings, cultures, and they have been exposed to different experiences. Guns are a bigger deal in Korea. A Korean could go years without hearing a gunshot, but an American, they probably hear gunshots a lot more. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would bet that a bit more of the players might survive Red Light Greenlight in USA, but that's just one way to look at it. When I remember that every male Korean has to serve in the military for almost 2 years, so they are just mentally as experienced with guns as Americans, and perhaps even more. This makes me realize something. Fear is a universal language. So when the first set of people die in America's Squid Game during Red Light Greenlight, fear will step in. In the end, there is no way to predict how the game will turn out. Anyways, let's not talk about the obvious anymore. Let's talk about the second game in Squid Game USA, Slippery Stairs. Because as we all know, Squid Game draws inspiration from childhood games. You're probably wondering what the Slippery Stairs game is. This particular one will definitely make you laugh your socks off, even though a lot of the people are going to die. The whole idea of Slippery Stairs is that a handful of players will attempt to climb a flight of stairs that have been made very slippery, perhaps with oil or soapy water, or anything that gets the job done, honestly. But that's not all. I know you're imagining that you could probably manage, but the extra catch here is that the stairs are not very thick. Actually very slim, and this, coupled with the slippery nature of the stair, makes everything a whole lot more difficult. Now, this is where things get interesting. Squid Game will surely make it more interesting. The game will have a timer, perhaps the usual 9 minutes or even less, and players are allowed to pull down or push other players. But if a player doesn't get to the top before the timer runs out, then he or she will be shot by the soldiers in pink. Doesn't this just sound so crazy already? The game will be played in batches, perhaps in a group of 6 or 10, depending on how wide they will make the stairs. But it will be one of the funnest games in the series in history. Alright, so moving on to the third game now. This is my personal favorite of mine. And if they play this game in USA, it's going to be a beautiful disaster. The game is the one and only Simon Says. And if you lose in this game, you will get killed. I'd like to imagine that this game will be played like Red Light Greenlight or the Mingle game from Season 2, because these are the games that everyone will be competing at the same time. There are no groups, no one's taking turns, it's just straight up chaos. You lose and you die. And the funny thing is that you'll expect people to listen very attentively to the commands because their lives literally depend on hearing Simon Says. But people are still going to fail. But I don't think the organizers will make it easy for them. Maybe the commands will be called out faster, so the players might not even notice when Simon doesn't say Simon Says. And maybe the commands will be things that are difficult and emotional to do. They might command a player to kill another player, or command a player to perform a difficult task. Perhaps. Either way, it's going to be a very bloody experience. The fourth game on our list is the team game, and it's that kind that will cause a lot of deaths. Can you guys guess what it is? Let me give you a hint. It's played with a ball. The game is dodgeball, and for this game, two groups of players will go against each other. A player is knocked out when he or she is hit by the ball by the opposing team. Don't worry, they aren't killed immediately. Only the losing team will be killed. And for the team to lose, all their players have to be knocked out. This game is going to be mentally stressful as well because of the responsibility that will be given to the standing players. Okay, let me break it down. If two teams are playing, and perhaps it's down to two players in each of the two games going against each other, or even one player each, the lives of all their teammates will be on their shoulders. So their teammates would shout at them, try to tell them what to do, and even threaten them. The remaining players will be on edge and feel the heat closing on them. And to make matters worse, the rule of the game could be that both teams could be eliminated if the last two players knock each other out at the same time. I know, the rules are so cruel. Well, it's a cruel world. And Squid Game, it's even more cruel in competition. Survival in this game will be very difficult, but if a team wins, they will feel like they have taken a breath fresh of air. Alright, so that brings us to the fifth game now. And this one will be so cruel because it will turn to the players and teams that were formed in the fourth game against each other. The fifth game is Knockout Arena. For this game, players will have to wear a sort of boxing gloves, and they will try and knock the players into holes. If a player falls into one of these holes, they will die. And for the players to pass in this game, they will have to knock out at least one player into a hole. The tricky thing about this game is that it will turn a lot of teammates against each other because dodgeball needed quick players, and most of the quick players are mostly smaller in size. While this game is Knockout Arena, we will most likely see the players that are bigger succeeding. And to make matters worse, new teams will be formed in an attempt to make the game easier. We will see smaller players teaming together because the big players will be too arrogant. We will also see some big players from groups so they can knock anyone in their path. There will be a lot of betrayal in this game. And finally, the last game on our list is Hopscotch Squid Game. This is not the hopscotch you know or remember. I feel like this one will be included there to give us a bit of a shock. Squid Game was the last game in Season 1, and in Season 3, Sky Squid Game was the last game. This one will have a twist. In this final game, the hopscotch game will be drawn on the floor from different directions, and their end will all point at Squid Game drawing on the floor. There will be one knife dropped in the center of the Squid Game drawing, and players will have to go through their hopscotch game successfully before getting into Squid Game. The hopscotch game will be longer than usual, and maybe even more technical. If you miss a step, you start from the beginning again. If you fall, you start from the beginning again. And whoever gets a knife first can start attacking other players with it. It will be a straight up fight to the death. If there's a player who hasn't completed the hopscotch by the time the player with the knife has, they will kill the others. Like I said, it will be a very technical and brutal game. Whoever wins will get the prize money. Sad but fun, right? But that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a very interesting one. There was a lot of new games involved. In my last video, I mentioned the floor is lava, but this one, I think the craziest one will be Simon Says. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know down below if you think Simon Says is the craziest one of all. But that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to check my recent video out, you can. I will put it in the middle of the screen. See you guys on the next one. Peace out and take care, everyone. Goodbye.